Hi, I'm Rob, this is Gems of War, and let's take a look at what's in the Soulforge this week. I always look forward to Mondays, always fun to see what new things we can craft. Let's take a look. Right, Scroll Reborn. Good troop this, don't have it yet, but I will get it when I can. Create 5 yellow gems, then convert all yellow gems to Doom Skulls and summon 1 to 3 wargs. Now, this is super similar to Lord of Slaughter. Lord of Slaughter creates, I think it's 5 or 6 brown gems and converts all brown gems to Doom Skulls. So the spell itself is super similar to Lord of Slaughter, and Lord of Slaughter I think is a top 10 mythic, so this is a decent troop. Um, and traits are a bit lame though, to be honest. The middle one's good, Impervious, very handy, but the other two, not too helpful at all. Now this is something to consider as well. The fact that Scroll Reborn is a boss is actually a negative on it, because what this means is there's a lot of troops now with that Godslayer trait, which is 5 times damage on skulls, but they also do 5 times damage on the spell as well. Depends upon how far they are ascended. Now what that means is if you're playing someone, you've put this troop in a team and they're playing PvP or Guild Wars, and they notice that, the chances are they're going to pick somebody who's got their Godslayer trait and just one-shot you, and this will die pretty quickly if in a PvP or Guild Wars situation like that. But otherwise, that is a decent troop and certainly worth considering. Attired Ascendant. Creates 6 green gems and converts all green gems to lycanthropy gems and summons 1 to 3 winter wolves. Similar kind of deal behind the traits. Decent one in the middle. Give 2 magic to all beasts allies when my turn begins is pretty decent, I suppose. But yeah, I've yet to try this one properly, so I'll hold judgment on this one till I've tried it. I'm not going to just guess, but there is a certain amount of randomness and luck behind that spell, because any spell which creates gems and then converts all gems of that colour to anything else, there's an element of luck, and it can work for you and it can work seriously against you at the same time. So bear that in mind. The Leonis Tower. Low level mythic. It's like one of the cheapest mythics to cost. In my case deals 36 damage to the first 2 enemies and stuns them, and you gain barrier. A barrier is obviously really good. Stun is decent in certain situations. And invulnerable is a particularly good trait. Immune to all status effects, devour, mana drain, transform, lycanthropy and lethal damage, as well as having stone skin, which reduces skull damage by 50%, is decent. So that's a good thing to have in first place, but it's more of a completist thing really. I can't think what I would use that for, to be honest, in a team right now. It's quite defensive. It's a fairly decent thing to have in first place, but nothing great about that, I would say. Enraged Kurandara. Now this thing just seems to enrage people because it's incredibly expensive to craft. It's okay. It's not actually that much better than the standard Kurandara, really, I don't think. A certain amount of randomness behind the Doomstorms. So yeah, this is severe end level stuff. Like the cost is high, and I don't think he's anywhere near in the same level as Zul'Goth regarding the spell, who is worth getting if you've saved up enough orbs. Kills an enemy outright, burns and freezes all remaining enemies, and creates 12 skulls as well. So super good. One of the best troops in the game, but still he is weakened by the fact he's a boss. Like, again, anybody with that Godslayer trait can just bash him out with one hit. Zathanos. Now, I've never seen a big deal about this troop at all. Steals life and half the magic from an enemy, and if that enemy dies, summons 1 to 3 random undead. And a pretty decent set of traits, I would say, but nothing outrageous. The value of a troop can often be judged by how often you see them in other teams, and I rarely see this troop in teams that I battle, hardly ever. It's just super rare. So generally that means He's not that great, and probably more end game completist reason again. Hatara and Scroll, very similar to the other one we looked at a second ago, converts all green to lycanthropy gems and all yellow to doomskulls. Summons a winter wolf or ball. And again, the middle trait is the one which is the best out of them, the other two being just so-so. Again, I'm not a huge fan of these convert a colour to a certain other type of gem and all yellow gems to doomskulls. The good thing about this one is you can see if it's going to do a 4-match or not. The first part of the spell, the convert all green gems to lycanthropy gems, is so-so. But then the yellow gems to doomskulls is a good thing, because you can actually see beforehand, before you cast it, whether that will do a 4-match or not and cause serious damage. Of course, the summon of Winter Wolf or Warg is only handy if you've lost someone already. So summons are good and quite defensive, and always a handy thing to have, especially in Guild Wars where you want to finish a match with a full roster of troops. Although whether this troop is usable in Guild Wars or not, I have yet to test. Mother of Darkness. Deal 34, in my case, true damage to an enemy and the enemy below. So important you don't cast that on the troop at the bottom, otherwise you're only going to get half the benefit of her spell. Boosted by purple gems. If the enemy dies, create 12 purple gems. Okay, that's not too bad, but you have to guarantee you kill them first, so you're going to have to do some serious damage beforehand. Otherwise, summon 2 Sisters of Shadows, which is not that great either, because again, you've got to have lost someone, and Sisters of Shadows, they're a pretty poor troop. With this Mother of Darkness doing true damage, Sisters of Shadows deal normal damage, so she doesn't synergize even with her own spell very well. So overall, I'd say that is a pretty meh kind of troop. And from Dawnstone as well, if you've already got Possessed King, I wouldn't bother crafting this one, to be honest. Best thing about this troop maybe is that third trait, inflict bleed to all enemies when matching 4 or more gems, which can stack, so you can end up doing quite a lot of damage on a regular basis, but the spell itself, not so great, so nothing fantastic about her. High King Irongut, now we're talking. Now this guy deals a certain amount of damage to an enemy with a chance to devour them equal to his attack, and gains an extra turn. Now, this dude is, if you can do high level delves, he absolutely will wreck high level delves and is the best troop in the game for me for doing that job. And just get him just for that. But he can work in PvP and Guild Wars as well with a certain team. The traits wise is nothing too fantastic, but like I say, just that devour equal to your attack. If you get his attack up to 100, it's a guaranteed devour no matter what, unless they're indigestible or invulnerable in some sort of way. But yeah, super duper, and he's probably the standout one in this bunch today, unless there's anybody above that's any good. Nope, these are legendaries. Lust and Nimue. Wouldn't normally recommend crafting legendaries. It takes 800 diamonds, and you're much better off saving for the mythics, because legendaries turn up in chests a hell of a lot more often than mythics do. What else we got? Oh, there's only a few more. One more mythic, Voice of Orpheus. Pretty lame spell for me. Deals damage to an enemy boosted by all ally mana. Cleanse all allies, then give all allies 5 mana. Wow, that's not that great to me. The trait's nothing special either. Impervious is okay. Cleanse all allies when matching yellow gems. So he's basically making half his spell useless by having a good trait. That's slightly bizarre. So considering you'll be making yellow gems quite often because he is yellow, you may as well reduce his spell to deal damage to an enemy boosted by all ally mana, and then give all other allies 5 mana because the cleanse part you'll be doing anyway. And because, well, yeah, so. So that is the troops. That's the one though. High King Iron Gut is the main one there. And the other standout one for me, I would say, was Scroll Reborn. Either of those will do pretty well. Weapons wise, we'll ignore the normal Xanathos style ones because they're there every week and we can go over them a different time if need be. Dark Staff, deal 33 damage to an enemy, then double damage if there's a Dark Storm and create a Dark Storm. Okay, that's okay, but a lot of these weapons are early level weapons, which is fine if you need some weapons. Other than that, they're more completist sake. There are a lot of class weapons which are going to be way better than a lot of these ones we're going to be seeing here. Like this. This is very similar. Deals 31 damage in my case to an enemy and creates 5 purple gems. Boosted by webbed enemies. So you want to base that around a team where web is one of the key things you cause to an enemy. Doomed potions. Give 30 life to all allies plus 2 per tempering level. Give 5 mana to all other allies, so not yourself. If the enemy has a doom, give 4 more mana. Give 2 magic to all allies for each green enemy. So quite a complicated spell, a lot of stuff to get your head around there. Can be good, sounds fairly defensive overall, but will speed everyone's mana generation up. Not as fast as an exploding weapon, I would say. So, how expensive was that? 900 diamonds, wow, that is expensive for something like that. That really is. And you're relying on the enemy having a doom to get the full effect from it as well, so that is expensive, and for me, on initial look, not worth it. Book of Brambles. Deals damage to an enemy boosted by elf allies, then a mix of green and purple gems for each elf ally. There's a lot of these same kind of weapons coming out now where you deal damage to an enemy and then create a mix of 6 of 2 different colours for each ally from that kingdom. And for me, so far, they have not been particularly worth it. So, yeah, this is a very similar one. This is virtually the same weapon, but in a slightly different way. And I've bought a few of these, put them into teams and cast them, and the amount of times, even though in this example, I would have a team full of Zul'Karite allies, the amount of times I cast this spell and I'll get no alignment on the gems when they cast, no 4-match and set the other team up. These sort of weapons so far for me have been pretty unreliable. Choker of Zul'Kari. What's this? Remove all purple gems, then deal damage to an enemy boosted by gems removed. If the enemy is from Zul'Kari, deal double damage. Okay, so. Okay, but it uses green. Now, it's low cost green, but my initial thought on this, as soon as I saw it was green, is why would you not use Essence of Evil if it's green only? Essence of Evil is a monumentally better spell than that. And if you don't have Essence of Evil yet, just play low level Explore until you do that 250 wins and get it, because it is one of the best hero weapons in the game, and I can think of no reason why you would rather be using this weapon than Essence of Evil when it's green only. Yeah, I can't see any real good for that. We looked at that one. Nightfall Blade. 32 damage to the last enemy. If they are poisoned, inflict 4 stacks of bleed. 4 stacks of bleed is quite good, but you're limited because you have to cast on the last enemy, which you don't always want to do. So that is a pretty limiting weapon, and not much use for that one either. All the other ones here are stuff which you may or may not have got. Dawnbringer is always worth saving up for. Deals damage to all enemies boosted by yellow allies and enemies, and gives all allies barrier, and if there are 13 or more red gems, gains 2 magic. So that is a pretty decent weapon overall. and worth getting. As is Dawnstone. Dawnstone I really like. Gives an ally 33 life and half their mana, cleanses barriers and enchants them. So if you've got a troop in your lineup which you want charged really, really quickly, then that is something decent to put on them, and that is a pretty cool weapon for me. Right, Doomed Ram, I've already got this as well. I've got this one for the sake of having it really, but I haven't actually used it that much yet. But I haven't looked that deeply into it either, but it looks like a pretty damaging weapon to me, and certainly worth considering because, yeah, that's pretty heavy damage all around and certainly worth getting. Duskbringer, I've got that. I haven't actually used it yet, I don't think, because I don't think it's as good as Dawnbringer overall, even though it uses different colours. But yeah, I will look into that a bit more and maybe make a team on that in the future. And that's pretty much it. So there you go. On the troop side, absolutely Scroll Reborn, worth getting. And so is High King Irongut, absolutely superb for high level delves. So there's a video. If you enjoyed it or found it useful, please consider bashing those like and subscribe buttons. It really does help. But most of all, thanks for watching. See you again next time. Bye for now.